Okay, so I'm going to be demonstrating the different ways you can grip a baseball and different pitches that are in baseball and um, the different, like the reasons why people throw the certain pitches they do and how they throw them. And before we get into it, a couple of fun facts about pitchers. So every pitch is thrown from 60 feet, 6 inches away. Um, every pitcher throws different pitches, just whatever they have mastered, whatever they're best at. Um, the fastball is the main pitch in baseball, but every pitcher has secondary pitches, which are called all speeds, and all speeds are made to keep hitters off balance, so they're not just waiting on a straight, easy fastball to hit. Um, Pitchers have to go through a lot to get their arms in the right shape and to make sure they don't have a lot of arm problems, because you can mess up your elbow and your shoulder really bad from misuse of throwing baseballs and using your arm too much. So the first pitch, the main pitch in baseball, is a four-seam fastball. You're just you grip it right over the two seams right here, and you pretty much just throw it straight, pretty much just throw it normal, and it's gonna be your fastest pitch. It's going to be the pitch you can throw strikes more easily from, and you can. It also has the highest spin rate of all the pitches. The second pitch comes off of that one. It's called the two-seam fastball, and it's going, instead of right here on these laces, you're going to grip it right here along these laces, and you're going to throw it. I like to put a little bit more pressure with my index finger right here, and it's going to create like arms, whatever arm you throw with, it'll create the ball to run a little bit more that way. So I'm a righty, so the ball is going to run to a little bit more to the right once it gets to the plate. And that's the significance of that fastball, and it's also thrown more in the four seam. Mostly in the Major League Baseball, it's thrown more in four seam, but usually a four seam is the main pitch. The next most common pitch will be the changeup. That's the pitch that pretty much everybody develops as their first off speed. There's a couple different grips that you can throw with that, and pretty much everybody will use what's called a circle change. So like right here in this little open spot of the ball, you would make like a little circle grip, but you want to let these two fingers be a little loose still. And then your two next middle fingers will just rest over the laces right here. You don't want to put too much grip on it, or too much pressure on it, my bad. And then your pinky can just rest on this side. And when you go to release the ball, you want to keep like a fat wrist, and you want to, what's called, coaches always say, you want to like paint the fence once you release it. So you want to like keep your arm like pull down the ball. So get your grip, and when you're releasing this ball, you want to like come down on it and let the ball spin. And then this is going to be usually the slowest pitch in baseball, and it's going to have like a little more run, like it's going to drop a little bit at the end. And yeah, that's pretty much the most effective all-speed pitch there is, because of the amount it slows down and how it drops down some. And so the next pitch, which is my best pitch, I would say, is called a 12/6 curveball, and you would grip it right along these laces. Okay, I'm sorry, right here along these laces, and your thumb will come around right here. So it'll be gripped just like that. And when you throw it, you want to kind of release it like this, and you want to get on top of it to make it like a couple of sayings coaches will use. They'll call it a hook, because it's supposed to hook down at the end once it gets to the plate, to the batter. Or they say like it fell at the table, meaning it just dropped a bunch, because that's what the curveball is supposed to do. It's supposed to have a lot of movement and kind of drop down to the zone. And that's probably the worst pitch for a hitter to face. It's the hardest pitch to hit if it's thrown right. Another pitch kind of like the curveball is a slider. And a slider is faster than the curveball, but it has a little bit less movement. But it's still a very effective pitch, and it's a lot easier to throw than the curveball, I think. And the way I grip it is, I would like to, so on the curveball, your fingers right here on the laces. On the slider, I like to get more right here on the end. And when I throw this pitch, I throw it almost kind of like a fastball, just straight pretty much, and let the grip do all the movement for you. So that's why I like the slider a bunch. It's a pretty simple pitch to throw, I think. And I don't do too much with it. Just let the grip do the work right there. And that's it. It's pretty much throw it almost like a fastball, maybe a little bit left, like turn my hand, turn a little bit. But that's pretty much a slider. Another pitch that's it's the most rare pitch in baseball. You don't really ever see it like used. It is the knuckleball, and it's supposed to have no spin on the ball, just kind of float in there, and the movement is pretty much predictable, like not predictable at all. I'm sorry. You don't really know how it's going to move. It's kind of like floats in there and does something weird. But with that pitch, so there's two ways you can throw it. You can either get your two fingers on top like this, and when you throw it, you kind of want to push out with your fingers a little bit, or you can get all four fingers and grip it right along the laces right here, and you want your fingertips to be on the laces right here, like this kind of. And then when you throw it the same way, you just flick your fingers kind of, and it usually has no spin, and the movement is predictable, and it's a very slow pitch, very hard to read. So most pitchers do not use it because it's a very hard pitch to learn and to master and throw for strikes, which is your overall goal of every pitch, to throw strikes. And the final pitch I'm going to teach you about is the sinker. You grip it right along these laces, right along the middle, kind of like this, thumb underneath. And you really throw it almost just like a changeup. When you release it, you want to pull down a little bit. And it's going to be the same thing as a changeup almost, but it's going to be it's going to be a faster pitch, but it's going to have the same movement as a changeup, kind of drops down in the zone late. And it produces a lot of ground balls and a lot of outs, gets hitters out very often. So that's why it's a very productive pitch. My pitches I've always used growing up and playing baseball, I've used the four-seam fastball, obviously. I didn't use a two-seam fastball too much, but I did use it a little bit. And I used the 12-6 curveball, which is my favorite pitch to throw because it has the most movement, I think. And then also a very effective pitch I threw was the circle changeup grip. And you rest your fingers right there, pull down on it. And then lastly, late in my playing years, I developed a slider. This one right here, almost like a fastball. Let the grip do all the movement. And that is my pitches I've used, and I've learned how to master and throw correctly and throw for strikes. And that is it.